It's day 6 of Lockdown the sequel, and I'm here to talk about digital humanities. And perhaps a good way to talk about digital humanities is to first talk about print. So, printed journal articles and humanities scholarship have a shared history. They've shaped each other's form. Research in print is rigorous, structured, and long. Digital humanities brings the need to craft the short form. And this opens opportunities to use excerpts of your research to invite your audience into the longer form of articles, books, and dissertations. We need your research out there, accessible by a diverse range of people, and digital humanities gives you the opportunity to reach your audience in ways that can make it easier for them to learn from you. One way to look at research in a digital world is the difference between distant reading, large-scale patterns across a mass of text artifacts, with close reading of the meaning encoded in a single textual artifact. We can take a computational approach and read thousands or even millions of blog entries or journal articles or tweets, and this distant reading can reveal patterns that we wouldn't have been able to see otherwise. We can then dive into one or a few of these texts to better understand the patterns we are seeing, or the patterns we see help us identify the one or few texts that matter to our research question. A bit of history about a computational approach. Ada Lovelace is the godmother of programming and algorithmic abstraction of computational approaches, and she wrote of the beauty of the computer she called the analytical engine. As a data scientist, I work mostly with data visualizations, and there is a parallel to how we read visualizations. On a macro level, our visual system can process some things pre-attentively. So on this weather forecast, for example, at a glance, I can see Melbourne's in for some rainy weather, but before a week is out. I can also take a closer look, a micro look, and see today is partly cloudy, and it looks like all through the day it's going to be fine enough for me to go for a bike ride. And with the interactivity of this particular visualization, I can dive in even deeper into the detail and see during the day, if I'm heading out at 10 a.m, how warm do I want to be? I think it'll be a puffer jacket kind of ride. This iconic representation, sun, clouds, rain, they're dense representations of the forecast, of the information. The power of micro-macro designs holds for every type of data display, organising complexity through multiple and hierarchical layers of contextual reading. But back to numbers. You might be, I think most of us seem to be familiar with the COVID-19 dashboard from Johns Hopkins. And we can see that visually it's showing us these bubbles, the size of the bubbles, reflect the number of cases, COVID-19 cases. But sometimes numbers can be misleading. So this really precise number, 573,042 global deaths, gives us an impression of certainty that isn't necessarily there in the data. If we look a little closer at the New York data, this is Georgia Lupi from Pentagram has redesigned the data visualizations from the New York governor's presentations. And you can see in this visualization, we have the number 540 lives lost yesterday, but the representation of each life as a hand-drawn dot gives us a sense of scale in a way that a number doesn't always. And I think one of the things I love about this one is the way with highlighting that one dot represents one life lost, it's giving a sense of meaning to the numbers. You know, this is one life lost. And if we take it a bit further and look at the testing rates, she's used a gradient to represent the uncertainty in the numbers. And so you can see on a macro reading, I can see a trend. The proportion of tests for the population of New York is rising over time. And I can do a micro reading and see that there were 670,000 tests with 250,000 positive cases out of a New York population of 9.5 million. There's no question programmers are awesome. And here's a Ryan Gosling meme. But you don't have to code. The tools of digital humanities are endless. This short video is created using the online analysis tool Voyant and my MacBook's QuickTime software. I pasted the transcript of a project chat into Voyant, a couple of terms, so I've updated the stop list, and the word cloud is regenerated. The discussion transcript can also be visualized as a bubble chart. And Voyant's actually created this data visualization with the link that I can go back to at any time. In this case, I've taken the word cloud to generate the Voyant link and forwarded this link to my collaborators for our discussion. Back to the long and short forms, MGSE's International Centre for Classroom Research are publishing a book of terms that maths teachers use about their professional practice. Carmel and I created these animated GIFs, these short looping animations of some of the terms. And these snippets from the research data were able to be shared over social media, embedded into a PowerPoint presentation. This short form of the research data is acting as an invitation to look a little closer at the research in its entirety. We also worked on visualizing the lexicon as a whole. So this interactive visualization lets you, on a macro reading, see that there are a number of terms, 61 terms. And you can dive into each term and see the detail of the definition and the example and categorization. With this visualization, you can see the terms and their categories are signified by the colors. And so with interactivity, you can get a sense of how many terms are in a given category. And again, you can interact with it and take a closer look at a single term. Ada Lovelace wrote about the deeper exploration of a subject that is a product of solving a problem with a computational approach. If you're doing research, think about partnering with someone like Skip as a co-research undertaking to explore your research data. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the chance to talk to you a little about digital humanities.